Hi there and welcome to Boxing Media Hub, proudly in partnership with Falcon Contracting and Jam's Boxing Chat, and we are live. So again, welcome to Boxing Media Hub. I'm Jam, filling in for Joel, and I am with the one and only Patrick J Killian, the world-renowned artist. He does amazing things with boxing, as you will see throughout this interview. How are you today, Patrick?
I'm great, bud. Thanks for the nice introduction. I always feel a little bit weird when somebody introduces me like that. I'm just a guy from Wales that enjoys painting the fighters. So
Mate, you
it's
are
nice, man.
something.
Nice, thanks.
No problem. You are something very special. And if it's okay with you, I'd love to just show a couple of your pieces to the people.
Mate, no problem at all. Yeah,
We'll,
yeah, I
we'll start with
appreciate it.
Eubank against Ben. Look at
Thanks,
that
dude.
piece, man. That is a stunner.
Well, I don't know if you want me to talk about any of these as we go through it, but
Yes, if you don't mind, Patrick.
I actually, people ask me sometimes how long did a piece take, and the funny thing is, I mean, they don't always take this long, but I started it in 2022 when the fight was announced, and it was very close to being finished. And then, obviously, with Ben failing the drugs test and stuff, I put it to the side, and it's been to the side for like until now. So I brought it back out, and I'm more or less there with it now. I think I'm still fiddling around with different things on it, so it's not varnished yet, and it hasn't been professionally photographed for prints. So, but I was showing it at the Manchester, um, the press conference,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's that piece.
Beautiful, mate. We'll move on to the two faces of Mike Tyson. This one I love.
Well, that's called now.
Explain this one for people, because this is
Well,
a
this
mad
is
one.
thanks, man. This is called Now and Then, and for me, it was. I really wanted to capture Mike's. He's very philosophical now. He gets very emotional now. So the two sides to Mike, and you've got the ferocious side then that I grew up with, from the age of 12, watching Mike and seeing him win the world title. So I wanted to capture those two sides to him. And I think I did that as well. I think it's a I really like it. It's one of my favorites that I've done. Um,
Beauty. It's an absolute beauty.
Mike signed 20 of them. 17 have gone. Actually, there might be two left. I think I've sold another one. We still got the original, but yeah, to get Mike to sign 20 of them as well, and the original was extra special because having grown up watching him and being one of my favorite fighters growing up, yeah, it was great to get that.
100%, Patrick. To be honest, mate, that's the boxer who got me into boxing. Honestly,
Same as me.
Patrick,
Same as me. Because I
Mike
can
Tyson
remember
was the one.
my mum. I can remember like as a 12-year-old, there was a video come out. Bill Caton and Jim Jacobs were brilliant with Mike. Obviously, bringing him up, fighting as many times as he did, and they brought out video footage, VHS videos of Mike even before he won the world title, and it was like his a story of him growing up. Man, I used to watch them. I can remember my mum bringing a video home and she bought me, and I was fascinated with him, as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, he was one of them. He was a straight killer, weren't he, in the boxing ring,
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Tyson. I grew up with him the same. My dad was a massive boxing fan. He used to wake me up. We used to listen to it on the radio. That's how I got into boxing myself. I'm
right,
41
right,
now. But
right.
back then, that's how I got
Catching me
into
up,
it, mate. So
catching me up.
get in there, mate. Get in there. So that resonates with me, that sort of picture. I love
Yeah,
it. The next one, though, is one of my favourite young fighters. And I've actually
okay.
purchased one of these from you. It's Abdullah Mason.
Yeah,
What a guy. What a painting as well. Honestly,
thanks,
it's
dude.
the
Thanks.
crown. It's the jewel in my crown. It really is in my
Uh,
collection.
I appreciate that, mate. I was actually painting it live in Norfolk when he fought on the DB3 show with the three brothers, Keyshawn Davis, and I was painting it there. And then I brought it back home and finished it off. And then I recently exhibited it in New York for his fight, and he signed the original there, and he's also signed a number of copies for me, which you've purchased one.
I did.
So thanks for your business, and
No problem, matey.
it was nice to do something with Abdullah and his team. His father and the boys. I tell you one thing as well. They are a lovely family. All those boys and his father. They are very nice people. You meet all different types in boxing, but they are such a nice bunch. If you're in, they'll come and talk to you. The bunch will come over like, and they're really nice guys like.
That's what you want, matey, innit? That's what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want. The next one we got is Dennis Baranchuk. I believe this one is.
Well, that was the night after the fight. And he
After
was,
he
he was
lost, after he lost to
Yeah, yeah,
Keyshawn.
and after he
Yep.
lost the Keyshawn, lost the world title, but I must admit, he was in pretty good spirits. He was all right.
The
So,
painting's still fantastic, though.
thanks, dude. Yeah,
It
yeah,
really is.
him and his team loved it. So, yeah,
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. We've got the Four Kings. Now, this is probably my favourite of all of them, even though I love the Abdullah Mason. I love one that's coming up later. But this one is something special. What inspired you to go to that one, to the Four Kings?
you know that's probably one of my favorites as well. I think recently, anyway. That was a commission piece, and obviously, you know, doing that. There's no reason why they're in that particular order, mind. Some people have said, of that, like, but there's no reason. I think if you flick the painting back up, I mean it. Where if you flick the painting back up, it with the image of Duran going that way, Marvelous Agla going that way. So I could have done the bottom two on the top. I could have,
Yeah.
but it's just the way it worked. Um, and there was no reason why Duran is a spade, Hagler's a heart. There's no reason behind that whatsoever. They're just the four kings, and I just captured each one on there. And you can't really see it on that image, but if you went closer into it, right, around each image is a gold. It really finished off, and the writing of each one. If you flick it back up again, Jim,
Yeah.
on each one, the names, there's gold. There's like a gold outline on it, and it is just it finished it off,
It's
But I
beautiful.
also I also do prints. I do individual prints of each one. So I split. We had a professional photographer. We split it four ways. So you either buy it as a print like that, or you can either buy it as a print of your favorite fighter. And we got a limited edition, but it's on a canvas, so it's different to the one you had. I've got a limited edition canvas edition of signed by Duran. I got about five signed by Duran. Um,
Oh, wow.
so that's nice. Yeah, yeah.
You've had a mad life in boxing, mate. We'll get into that very soon. The next one is
Thanks, man.
Keyshawn Davies. So part of the D3. These, honestly,
Yeah,
I love
well,
this one.
thanks, man. Well, this is at the with Top Rank. This is at the Westin Hotel in New York, and this was during fight week, before the big fight with Brinchik, and yeah, Keyshawn loved it, and he also loved the other one that I did of him, Brinchik and him, and yeah, great to be there. He's signed. I've got a number of canvases of these that's signed by Keyshawn. Unfortunately, I didn't take any of the ones that you've recently had, the smaller prints. I
Yeah.
didn't take any of them out with me when I was going to, and I
Oh, that's a
probably
shame.
should have. But I will do on the next time I see him. I'll take a few out. Um, but yeah, what a win for him.
He's a great
Um,
guy, mate. I think he's going far in boxing. Keyshawn, I
yeah, I
really
think
do.
he's very good. Yeah.
He's one of my favourites. Right, the next one was the 2018 Ring Magazine cover
Ah,
that you. How
yeah,
amazing is that?
yeah, cool, man. It's nice to be on there. I had always bought the magazine when I was younger, and I'd always later on remember seeing like Leroy Neyman on the covers, and I guess it was a dream of mine to be on there, and there I am. I'd like to do more. I haven't really pushed it with Dougie Fisher. Um, But yeah, I'm not sure now either with the way that the magazine have gone with obviously the Turkey Al Sheikh has bought it, etc. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but I think Dougie is still in the forefront of it and running the magazine. I think and an editor of it.
Yep.
So we'll see. But the funny thing is with this painting. it's never it's never materialized. The fight never happened. So the painting is it's one of those ones. Really, it's got a bit of a special thing to it. I suppose the fight.
It's
I don't know if it will happen now.
it's for your own collection, basically. It's
I
an
guess
own
so.
collection one, but it's an
Yeah.
amazing achievement still.
Thanks, dude.
And the last one we'll go to is the one that I purchased as well, James Tony.
Yeah, cool, man.
What a
Listen,
fantastic
James
picture!
Toney was inducted into the uh, Atlantic City Hall of Fame, and I'm the official artist to the Atlantic City Hall of Fame. And shout out to Ray McLean, who was the founder. And I present the fighters every year. There's about 10 fighters that go into the Atlantic City Hall of Fame, and I present those 10 with the official induction painting. Now, this isn't the original. This is just the prints that James signed,
Yeah,
but the original is bigger. But it was lovely to present James with that, and he's such a him and his wife. For the last couple of years, actually, that the Atlantic City Hall of Fame. The great thing about that the Hall of Fame, the Atlantic City one, is that nearly every year all these guys come back to support the following guys. So last year, the last couple of years, James have come back, and last year I had breakfast with him and his wife, and we had a good chat. And it actually is him and his wife and his son, and we had a really nice conversation just about life in general, and yeah, really cool, man.
that's beautiful, mate. And like I say, that's going to be another
Yeah.
one. I'm giving that one to my dad, so it won't be
Oh,
the
and awesome.
the
Yeah, yeah.
tool of my collection, but I love it. We've got a couple of comments. Michael Montero said, "Oh my God, what a talent you are, Patrick!
Oh,
Amazing."
thanks, dude.
And
Appreciate it,
Jams
man.
Boxing, big up Jams and Patrick, fantastic boxer in his time as well.
Oh,
He's an
thanks, dude.
OG artist. We're going to
Thanks,
get
man.
into that now. So that was going to be my next question. Thank you,
Cheers,
Javin,
dude.
from the Welsh Valleys, for letting me know that. What got you into boxing to start with, Patrick? Like, what inspired you?
Well,
Was it family, friends, or just the
probably my
aggression?
dad. I think it was probably my dad, and watching it with him at an early age. Um, and then the first, I think the one I can remember watching my dad was Julius Caesar Chavez and Meldrick Taylor, and but I can remember my mum and my dad. I had one of those balls, this you stand on it, and it was like one of those balls that flicked back and forth. And I had
Right.
that probably at a very young age, and I used to go on that a lot. But then I didn't actually start until I was 16. I left school, and my friend was going to a guy's garage called Dennis Rogers. He's now passed away. And Dennis Rogers was an uh, early trainer because he used to go to Newbridge Boxing Club of Calzaghe. I think I'm right in saying that he was there, and he was a part of Joe's development early on,
Yeah.
and so I started going to his garage, and at 16, and on the bag, and his son used to come in to watch me, and then we used to go down to the field and tie a rope up. I'm talking 1991. It's not really that long ago, but obviously there was boxing gyms around, but there wasn't a boxing gym around then at our area. So we were going down down his garage, taking us down the field. But then Dennis then started taking me to a local gym in Cumbran, and Keith Jeffries is the trainer there and still is. And Keith is now in his 80s, and so I went over there a lot when I was younger, sparring, and then I used to go over to Fleur de Lis with Di Gardner, sparring a lot. Um, and all around really. And it did become a love of my life. I just it was everything. I So I did have my first fight till I was 18 because of a heart murmur, and it was on a Newbridge boxing show, and obviously Newbridge was Newbridge Boxing Gym, Joe Calzaghe,
Yeah.
and I was on that. That was the first bill I was on, and Joe on my very first fight. Joe had an exhibition at the end of the night. Calzaghe had an exhibition with somebody. So it was nice that who would have known that down the line he would have been as successful as he was. Um, yeah, and then I literally just fell in love with it. I was from 18. I had my first fight at 18, so I started at senior level. I had about 45 in total, including exhibitions, probably 45, and I won about 35, and
Wow.
I stopped about 15, 20. I could bang. I wasn't a fantastic. I wasn't a brilliant boxer, but I could finish a fight. My trainer
You
used
had a
to
bit of
say,
snap, a little bit of snap
yeah,
in
my
it.
trainer used to say I could finish a fight with either hand. So and that was that many times where you're losing a fight and then boom, you can finish it. But I loved the
See,
sport. I absolutely loved it. But then it was either that because I went to art college. See, look as I left school at 17, I went to art college, the local art college. Then I went on to do an illustration course, and then so when I went and done the illustration course, I was boxing for Carmarthen, and that was great. That was a great time down there, and boxed for my country a number of occasions. A number of guys turned pro. There was Jason Samuels turned pro. There was Jason Williams turned pro. Simon, it was a guy called Simon. No, not Simon Blenny. Oh shit, forgot his name now. From
don't be sorry.
Plymouth. Good, Justin Simmons turned pro. He was a good fighter. Just he had about 11 and one, but I stopped him. So I stopped the most of the ones that went pro. I stopped them, myself. So I was very tempted, 97 to turn pro with Enzo Calzaghe because it was on my doorstep, but it just never happened. When you think about it, I had gone to college doing this art, and everything, and I had this in my mind as a career, and
Yeah.
then the boxing side of it. When I went on the pads, pad work was painful towards the end of it, on the pads. It was all my hands are always hurting, and it played on my mind a lot, with the art and the boxing. So, but I did have a dream, mind. I did have a dream of like turning pro and sort of, this. Because at the time, if you think about it, I was going to go turn pro in '97, and at that time in 1997, Joe wins the world title against Eubank.
Yeah.
So it would have been a great time to turn pro because there was a lot of media on that gym, and my idea was painting like the way I could paint, and also being able to fight. It would have been a good story, but it's just one of those things. I thought, I'm just gonna
Well,
give it. I'm
one
just
could have
gonna.
disrupted the
I'm
other
s-
as well, Patrick, couldn't it? Imagine if you'd have like damaged your hands beyond repair, you
well,
might not have been able to paint, and
there's a
that's another
slight
thing.
there's a slight bit of regret that I never had a go. But like I always say to people, I could have got killed. I mean, you look at John Cooney the
Yeah.
other week. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just don't know.
R.I.P. John
You don't know
Cooney.
what's going to happen. So in a way, it is what it is, and I'm just glad that I'm still involved I'm still following it in that sense. That I can
Yeah.
capture
Well,
the
you're
the
still a big part
fighters.
of the sport you love,
Yeah,
Patrick. You're still
yeah.
a big part. Like, no one watches boxing who doesn't know who you are and doesn't see your
Oh, well, I wouldn't. I
paintings.
wouldn't say that, mate. I mean, it's just it's like it's very flattering when I go away and if I go to Vegas or something to show a piece of artwork and people come up to me and say I follow you on Instagram or Twitter. It's very flattering because maybe I'm just not that.
You just
It's
want to
just
be in there banging heads, don't
it's
you? Let's
nice.
be truthful.
It's nice that people come up to me and say that,
Yeah. Jabbit Boxing's just chimed in again. He said, my cousin said he watched one of your fights and Gary's gave you a rollicking in the corner. You came out next round and cleaned the guy out. You always had that equaliser.
Who is that?
So that's from Gabbit Boxing. He said that his cousin
Gavin.
said that he watched one of your fights and Gary gave you a rollicking in the corner and
Yeah.
came out next round and you cleaned the guy out. Always
Well,
had
that's
that
probably.
equaliser.
That probably happened a few times, to be honest with you, with Gary in my corner.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know if Gary mentioned Gary. It was Dennis Rogers, but when after we'd gone to, they eventually him and a local businessman, Gary Butcher, um, put the club together because they were friends as youngsters. They both boxed at Newbridge Boxing Club, Gary and Dennis Rogers, and then they later created the boxing gym, which is still there to this day in Cumcarn, where I grew up, and they Dennis have now died. Oh, look at me here. Let me spin this around. Can I turn my picture around?
yeah, of course, mate. You do what you
How do
need
I
to
do
do,
it
Patrick.
now?
No problem.
How do I do it?
Um,
Oh, wait a minute. If I click on my, don't know if I can do it. I don't want to. I don't want to mess it up. I'll turn it around. Right, I'm going to turn the thing round here. Is
Show some of these amazing pieces.
well, no, no. There's no. It's back to front, right? Because I can't turn the thing round. Um, I don't know. Why can't I turn the camera around?
I ain't got a clue, matey. I'm useless for that stuff, to be honest.
Didn't want to do that, did I?
Ah, don't
I thought
worry, don't
normally I
worry.
can flick the. Why is that then? I can't flick it around. Never mind. Um, yeah, well, I just showed you Dennis and Gary then on that picture.
Yeah.
Um,
If it
but yeah,
happens in
so
Wales, Jabbit Boxing knows about it. Trust me, Jabbit knows everything about Welsh boxing. He's a proper historian.
yeah, well,
It,
yeah, and that
if he says
Gary
you were
and
good,
Dennis,
man, you were good.
they were great with me, like growing up. So yeah, they're a big part of my life, really.
Fantastic. And you've already said you got no regrets, so that's good, mate. That's good.
Yeah.
Who was the boxer you seen that has ever anyone ever made you starstruck? Have you ever met a boxer to do a painting and
Well,
been like, wow, it's this guy?
I wouldn't. Well, when I say starstruck, I guess Muhammad Ali was
That's what I
2000
thought.
2010. I was invited out to Phoenix, Arizona at Muhammad Ali's Celebrity Fight Night charity. And, Ali was on the stage and, he couldn't really talk at that time because that was 2010.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it was 2010. I think he died a year later or 6 months, yeah, about a year later. I think that's right. Did he die 2011 or 2016?
I'm not sure. I think it might
Oh,
have been
sure.
2016, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not
So it
100 on
was,
that, to be honest.
yeah,
I
so
remember it, but
but he wasn't good.
yeah, his
But it
Parkinson's
was
was
just
real
nice
bad.
to be there, and I done a painting of Tyson versus Ali, and both had signed it. Um, so it was if I was ever starstruck, I would say, you know, with him,
Yeah, there's nothing
yeah,
wrong with that, mate. Muhammad Ali,
yeah,
bloody hell. I wouldn't, I would have just been salute.
yeah, yeah.
Absolute amazing, mate. Absolute amazing. So I know you've said who you were starstruck with, but who was your favourite to ever paint, like so far? I know you're going to do many more because you're still a young man.
Well,
Who was your
I
favourite?
I'll never get bored of painting Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. Um,
Real greats.
I'll never get bored of painting them, and I've probably they're probably the most I've painted. Um, so yeah,
They're your
definitely,
favourites.
yeah, Ali. Or well, I was never Ali was never a favorite of mine growing up because I never really knew because it was I was growing up and I grew up with Tyson,
Yeah.
so it wasn't until later life watching a lot of obviously 2006 we start getting YouTube and you know, and you can find these videos and these footage of all these fighters and the way that he would talk and represent himself. He was quite special, and listening to some of his speeches and the way that he would just reel it off. And I think he stood up for a lot of things himself, and I suppose you've got to respect that, and
Yeah, he
I
was an
suppose I
amazing
grew
man.
I grew into a bit more of a fan then, watching a lot of footage of him, later in life.
Yeah.
Um, but I would number one, I would definitely say Tyson. But I gotta submit, mine. I also was a fan of Calzaghe. I mean, not just because he was from my country. I really liked his the way that he would fight. Because he could fight and he could box. He could do
He
both. He and
beat
he was
everybody.
and
Beat everybody.
he was a. I tell you now, he could bang. He was a puncher. Um, So yes, and and I say that, and I say this story all the time when I talk to people about sparring with Joe. And when I say heavy-handed, and people used to say slaps, I used to tell them, well, those slaps were hard because
Yeah.
I felt them, and there was I only sparred with him once. It was either once or twice, and and literally at one point he was behind me, and he's so good on his feet, but
Something very special was Joe Kawasaki. People say he beat Roy Jones Jr. when Jones was finished, but he still beat him. And look at the rest of his resume. He never ducked a man. He never. I'd like to have seen the Carl
Well,
Froch fight, but we
I
know
liked
Kawasaki would have won that.
this story when he said about sparring with because Nicky Piper wanted to come up for some sparring, and Nicky Piper was going to fight Nigel Benn.
Yeah.
And what you got to remember, Joe was an amateur at the time, and they sparred, and Joe put him on the floor. And after Joe put him on the floor, Nicky Piper then took Nigel Benn 8 rounds, and Joe realised then that he was ready to turn pro because he'd put him on his ass
Yeah.
within a round or two. We're probably a round on him, and and Nicky took Nigel Benn 8 rounds, so he felt that he was ready. I think I was in his book as well. I think he wrote in his book.
Yeah. Terrific
But
athlete, mate. Terrific athlete.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I'll tell you what, Patrick, that pretty much does us for today, mate. Thank you so much for joining me. I really
No
appreciate
worries,
your
man.
time. Love the artwork, mate. Keep up the fantastic work, and I can't wait
No
to
worries,
see what
mate.
you bring out in the future.
Duran, Roberto Duran in the back there. I can't. I'm annoyed. I can't. I can't spin this round. That's backwards. I don't want to show it backwards.
You can still
Oh
see
no!
it though. Still see how amazing it is. You can still see it. But
What about?
literally, if you post your link to me, I will put it in the description, and anyone can go on and look at all your pieces, and they can hopefully purchase some bits,
No worries,
and
dude. Can
we'll
I?
move on
Can
from
I?
there.
Can I share this after this or what?
Yeah, yeah, of course, matey.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll
okay.
send you the link and then just share it around.
Cool.
All good, Patrick.
No
Thank you
worries,
so
man.
much for
Thanks,
joining me on
Jim.
Boxing Media Hub,
Thank
and
you,
we will
Jim.
speak to you soon, mate. God
All the
bless.
best, bud. All the best.
Cheers.
Ta.